Okay, let's start your discussion topic. I've already explained these in detail last weekend, so please commence your discussion. It's about the table, the blank table that you were given, right? I guess that each of you would have done your own homework. So now you take an extra blank sheet, extra blank table to write down your group's decision.
We have attempted to do this based on, we've rated them based on Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. The ones that are marked L are based on Sila, those marked M on Samadhi, and H high on Panya. And this is our rating.
Oh, low, medium, and high, is it? L, M,
Yes,
H.
it's very, otherwise we would fight over the numbering.
So which is low and which is medium? Can you tell us?
Oh, okay, low would be, low is the one that's on page 91.
91, okay, let's look at 91.
Oh.
Which is the low end? Low end one is which one?
Low end one we have identified as the one on page 91, the sequence in page 91.
Then you say it starts with what?
It starts with virtue.
No, where got start with virtue? That's not on page 91. That's, yeah. 86, start with virtue. Yes, there's page 86, start with virtue. Can you see that? Page 86? It starts with virtue?
Okay. Oh, okay, right, sorry, thank you. Right. So it's page 86.
Okay.
Starts with virtue.
Then?
Non-remorse, joy, rapture, tranquility, happiness, composure.
Okay, there's the low end.
Low end.
All right.
But
medium?
for medium, we have 4, starting with energy, mindfulness, composure on page 85.
Okay.
The next one, steady, settled, unified, composed, page 67. Then we have energy, mindfulness, tranquility, one-placeness of mind. And the last one for medium is non-negligent, ardent, resolute.
Wait, where does that come from?
Page 74.
74. Oh, Kaya Kata Siddhi Sutta, is it? Oh, that one.
Yes. So
that's medium.
74. That's medium.
Right.
And for high, we have from page 91, experiential verification, joy, rapture, tranquility, happiness, and then composure.
Okay.
Page 97, suffering, faith, joy, rapture, tranquility, happiness, and composure. And the last one is sense restraint. That's page 99, Abante. Sense restraint, joy, rapture, tranquility, happiness, and composure.
What is your basis for classifying them as L, M, H?
The basis was Sila, Samadhi, Panya. L being Sila, M Samadhi, and High Panya.
I don't seem to see the relation. How?
Starting point of? Basically, wasn't so much a starting point, it was whichever fits in best with that with Sila, we would put it under low. Right, team? I need some help here.
I think what she's trying to say is that we rate it as low when there is a less need for us to put in effort into the practice. And we rate it as high when actually we need to put in the practice into the practice. So when we have experiential verification, which is high, we need to actually practice.
No need listen to Dhamma talk only what.
No, experiential verification.
Where is that? That's under Vimutayatana Sutta, no?
It's under page 91, experiential.
91? Yeah, 91 is Vimutayatana Sutta lah. There are 5 scenarios. You give a Dhamma talk, you listen to Dhamma
Yeah,
talk.
this is experiential verification. So we take it as experiential
That one
verification.
needs a lot of energy.
No, not energy. I mean, you need to verify it through your own experience.
So that's high end. High end samadhi.
I take it that way. I take it that way that the high end is that we need to actually experience it for ourselves, and so we need to meditate and or meditate on it in order for us to experience it for ourselves. And when low end is virtue and non-remorse, there is less of meditation involved.
Okay. Alright, thanks. Anyone else got any ideas? No? This one is kind of difficult. I also haven't worked it out. Couldn't find any basis for grading them into low or high end. Okay, anyway, thanks for sharing. At least now I got somewhere to work on.
So for the first column, we use MN20, page 64 for the process. Mind steadies, settles, unify, and compose. And we have the different mental states adjacent to this process. So for the first one, we start from MN19, page 72. We have energy as the mind state, number 1. Mindfulness, 2. Body tranquility, 3. And samadhi, 4. Next is MN 119, page 74. Mindfulness, non-neglection, number 2. Number 3, ardent. Our friend said we can term that as energy also. So the third column is SN 48.50, page 84. The first mental state is faith, energy, mindfulness, and compose. Next is AN 10.2, page 86. Virtue is 1, non-remorse 2nd, joy 3rd, rapture 4, body tranquility 5, and happiness 6. Knowledge and vision is, it didn't number. And then we have liberation. Next is AN 5.26, page 90. This is for the mind steady. Experiential verification. Next is mind settles, joy, 2. Rapture, 3. Mind unify is body tranquility. Then happiness. And last is compose. Mind is composed. Next is SN 12.2, page 96.
12.23 is it? 12.2 or 2.3? 2.3.
That's what it was written here. Then the mental state is mind steadies. We have suffering, 1, faith, 2. Then mind settles, joy, rapture. Then mind unified, body tranquility, happiness, knowledge and vision, liberated. Last one is SN 35.97, page 98. Mind steadies for sense restraint. Mind settles for joy, rapture. Body unified, body tranquility, and happiness. And last is compose. Our grading for the samadhi is, for the first sutta, MN19, it is mid-end. only one jhana factor is appeared. Next is MN 119. It is a low-end samadhi because there's only mindfulness, non-neglection, and adhan. Page 74, you only have these three. So we consider them as low-end samadhi.
I think it's one, because if you look at the notes, note 21a, this samatha refrain applies to all the exercise given in this sutta. Breathing, postures, clear knowing, bodily parts, elements, corpses, and the 4 jhanas, including the similes about pervading the body with the outstanding feature of each jhana. So it goes until the jhanas, You didn't read the notes, huh?
We
You
missed
skipped the
this out.
notes. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the next sutta, SN 48.50, page 84, we consider this as low-end samadhi.
Why?
It has faith, energy, mindfulness, and composure only.
Okay.
The next one is AN 10.2, page 86. There's virtue or non-remorse, joy, rapture, tranquility, happiness, knowledge and vision, liberation. So we consider this as high-end.
Why you consider it as high-end? Because it ends in liberation.
Liberation.
Oh, okay. Okay, what else?
AN 5.26, page 90. So we have experiential verification, joy, rapture, body tranquility, happiness, mind composed, knowledge and vision, and liberation. We have up to happiness and samadhi, so we consider this as low end.
This is low end. Okay. But it can still go until liberation. It's a base for liberation. Okay, anyway, go on.
Okay, the next one is SN 12.23, is it? So page 96. So we have faith, energy, joy, rapture, tranquility, happiness, knowledge and vision, liberation. So this is high end.
Oh, so your grading is whether it is liberation or not. Okay.
The last one is SN 35.97, page 98. Virtue, joy, rapture, body tranquility, happiness, compose. So this is low end.
Okay, then?
For C, we have 4 words to suggest. Number 1 is collectedness. Next is mental composure. Third is focus, calmness. Fourth is concentration.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, from our group discussion, we have come up with this summary. The process of samadhi is in 4 stages: mind steadiness, mind settles, mind unified, and mind composed.
Okay.
Okay, these are in relation to MN 12 on page 72. This describes the mind steadiness.
Okay.
Yeah. And the mental states related to mind steadiness are suffering, sensual desire, energy and effort, mindfulness, sense restraint, secluded from unskillful things, faith, virtue, non-remorse, energy, and sati. These are also related to MN 119 on page 74. It's also described in MN 122 on page 76, SN 48.5, page 84, and AN 10.2, page 86. Now,
Okay.
the mind settles, the mental state related to it are experiential verification, joy, rapture, body tranquility, happiness, and composure. This can be found in Sutta AN 5.26, page 91 and 90 also. Mind unified actually also is found the mental process as body tranquility, happiness, and composure in AN 5.26, page 90 and 91. And last is mind composure. Mental states related to it are knowledge, vision of liberation, factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. This is found in AN 10.2, page 88, AN 4.41, page 104 and 110.
Okay, very good.
And okay, this chart also shows the various process of mind steadiness, mind settle, and mind compose. The factors related to it are right view, right thought, right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Under mind steadiness, and under mind settle, right effort, and right mindfulness. And when the mind is composed, you have these three state, which is mind composed, right composure, right knowledge, and right liberation.
What happened to unification? Huh? Mind unifies.
Mind unify is actually also under mind settles.
Okay, that was your alternative translation for samadhi.
We think it should be right composure.
Composite, okay, all right, thank you. Okay, anyone else? So you should be familiar with all the suttas here by now. Huh? So they are MN 19, SN 48.50, AN 10.2, SN 5.26, SN 12.23, SN 35.97. Okay. I've actually observed that there are 6 patterns here and one more pattern which doesn't fit into here, so I'm going to show a separate slide for that. And here the process is found in the process of samatha, which is just now was pointed out by the others. Step 1 is the mind steadies, and then settles, and step 3 is unifies, and the last one is composed. Categorize them into how many types of mental states? I think altogether 17 with a few overlaps. Right, with a few overlaps. So looking at how it's done here, I've listed it in this order: suffering, faith, energy, mindfulness, sense restraint, virtue, non-remorse, energy and sati, experimental verification, joy, rapture, body tranquility, happiness, samadhi, knowledge and vision, readiness, detachment, and liberation. You will notice that here I have energy and mindfulness repeated. Here is the first time, and it comes again here, energy and sati. Now this is based on one sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya called the Mahachattārisaka Sutta, which talks about the Noble Eightfold Path. And it says that of the 8 path factors, there are 3 path factors that are the executives. The others are just the followers. If the executives work, then the others will follow. If the executives don't work, then the Noble Eightfold Path cannot operate. And what are these 3? The first one is right view. Right view is right at the beginning of the Noble Eightfold Path. Only with right view can you do the others correctly. If you start off with wrong view, the others all will go wrong. But even after you have studied right view, even after you have learned about right view, studied or listened to Dhamma talk, you must remember about it. You must remember it, isn't it? If you don't remember right view, how are you going to practice? Yeah? But not only remember, you can remember, you may have a very good memory, you can sit for examinations, you can get a diploma in Buddhism, a BA, an MA, and a PhD in Buddhism. But if you don't put in the effort to practice, also cannot. Right? So these three are very important. Right view, right mindfulness, and right effort. Only when these three are cooperating with one another can the other path factors turn. And so that's why I have repeated here energy and mindfulness to make this list sequential. So for MN19 on page 72, you can see that it starts off with energy and mindfulness, and then it goes to bodily tranquility, to samadhi, and to liberation. On page 84, you can see that in SN 48.50, it starts off with faith, and then it goes on to energy, to mindfulness, then it goes on to samadhi, knowledge, vision, and liberation. Here it starts off with faith, and it skips actually body tranquility. And then in AN 10.2 on page 86, it starts off with virtue, and it goes on to non-remorse. Then it goes on straight to joy, rapture, bodily tranquility, happiness, samadhi, knowledge and vision, weariness, and liberation. It looks like almost all the bottom factors are there. Probably there's also energy and sati, which I did not include. For SN 5.26, you will have experiential verification going on to joy, rapture, bodily tranquility, happiness, samadhi, and finally liberation. In SN 12.23, on page 96, we start off with suffering. As I mentioned the other day, suffering is actually a very good starter. A lot of people come to the monastery, to meditation centers, only when they suffer. Then they have faith in the teaching that leads out of suffering. Otherwise, if you are too busy enjoying yourselves, you wouldn't want to come near. Okay, so this one also goes to the bottom. Looks like take a big leap from faith to joy, rapture, and so forth until liberation. The last one is on page 98, 35.97. It starts off with sense restraint, and then it jumps to joy, rapture, bodily tranquility, happiness, samadhi, and knowledge and vision. Okay, so this shows the sort of mental states are involved when samadhi is being developed. But the process of how it comes about in the mind is that the mind steadies, and this covers from faith until non-remorse. And then mind settles to energy and sati with experiential verification, joy and rapture. Then it sort of unifies with bodily tranquility and happiness. And then is compo-focused, a new word that I invented, which I will explain to you afterwards, a new translation for samadhi. And this compo-focus is attained when there is samadhi, knowledge, vision, weariness, detachment, and liberation. You will see here that towards the end, starting from joy until samadhi, this seems to be very common to all the patterns, although it's missing in the first two. Sometimes in the suttas, they don't mention everything. Sometimes they just mention certain elements which are more predominant in particular cases, and then they just sort of ignore all those not so prominent features. So maybe it's already there, but it's not stated. Don't know, I'm just making a supposition, a hypothesis. But what is so important here is that you can see in the last 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, that before samadhi occurs, what is the proximate cause of samadhi? Happiness, isn't it? Happiness is being contented with being happy with what you are doing. Right? So if you want to meditate, you should try to select an object which you will be happy with, rather than to grudgingly try to meditate on an object which you don't like, but because everybody else is doing it. So it's very important. You must have happiness, because if you're not happy with what you're doing, you won't get samadhi. So that's why people have hobbies. People have hobbies because that's what they really want to do, they like to do. And when they are very busy with their hobbies, they get so absorbed in it, they lose time. No more time, because you're so happily absorbed in what they are doing. And the mind is actually in samadhi at that time. Now, it's a form of worldly samadhi. How good it will be if your hobby is also your vocation. It's because people's vocations are not what they want to do. That's why they have hobbies. Okay, so let's go on to another pattern which I found out is on the Noble Eightfold Path. Here, of course, you are familiar with the Noble Eightfold Path, but here there is actually two additional factors, which are right knowledge and right liberation. This is the result. When you've got all the 8 path factors, then right knowledge and right liberation follows. So in this case, I have classified the process of the mind being steadied from right view until right livelihood. And then the mind settles in the form of right effort. The mind unifies in the form of right mindfulness. And the mind is compo-focused in relation to the last 3 factors. But I'm not really very happy with this also, because this section on mind settles and mind unifies, covering right effort and right mindfulness, does not really agree with our earlier chart. You see, in my earlier chart, mind settles covers so many things, right effort and mindfulness, and then experiential verification, joy and rapture. Whereas unification of the mind is only for body tranquility and happiness. Anyway, this is just a hypothesis, something that we try to generalize from the samples that I have managed to extract from the suttas. But what is most important, like I mentioned just now, is the last few steps involved in the attainment of samadhi. Yeah, you see here, it's joy, rapture, bodily tranquility, happiness. Okay? Now, somebody asked me in one workshop somewhere, where is it? In Kuching. He said if there's joy and rapture, which is something very agitating, it's not cool and calm, how can that lead to bodily tranquility? Isn't it? And tranquility means calmness. But if you are joyful and you have rapture, there's actually no calmness. The mind is actually like that, So one wonders, whether Pamoja and Piti should be translated as joy and rapture. Or maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something else. My understanding of Piti is not so much of that thing that is described in the Visuddhimagga, because the Visuddhimagga talks about different types of piti, of rapture, like you get chills in your body, and then you get goose pimples, and you get waves of joy sweeping through your body, and sometimes you can even float around. Yeah. My understanding of piti is like it's deep, intense interest in what you're doing. When you're really absorbed, or rather very interested in what you're doing, or your mind gets very, intense interest. And there's some bit of joy or happiness there, delight there, but it's something tranquil. It's something calm. Not something like this bubbly, rapture, sort of joyful thing. Anyway, this is only my interpretation. You might have to look into your own experience.
Bante, this question about samatha. Earlier in your chart, under settling of the mind, the mental process there you mentioned joy, okay, and under unification is happiness. Okay. Normally we associate happiness with happiness of due to sense organs, the five senses lah. So how come the happiness is considered a higher mental state than joy? Can you explain what that happiness means?
Okay. Actually, just now I already commented on the translation of the word joy and happiness and how these can lead to tranquility. Because tranquility is supposed to be calmness, and yet joy and happiness are something very got agitation in it, bubbly and agitation. So I did venture to give my interpretation of what joy means, or piti, not so much like, bubbly excitement, but intense interest in what you're doing. Pleasurable, intense interest in what you're doing. When you're intensely interested in what you're doing, then that will lead to calmness and tranquility. Now, the word happiness also, as a jhana factor, it is vivekajang piti sukham. Joy and happiness born of seclusion. Seclusion from what? Seclusion from the pleasures of the senses. So this is a joy and happiness that arises and is not connected with any objects of the five senses. It's connected with meditation. Inward joy and intense interest in what you're doing, and happiness in the sense of ease and comfort. Happiness can be defined as being contented with what is happening at that moment, which is not connected with the pleasures of the senses. Right? So the word happiness also, it can be applied variously. It can be applied to sensual happiness. It can be applied to non-sensual happiness. It can be applied to nibbanic happiness, which goes beyond everything. And the happiness of nibbana is precisely because there is nothing to be felt. That's why it's happy. That's the way it's defined. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
So coming back to the translation of piti, and I think in the book you render it as rapture at certain places, but you also mentioned that interest, or specifically interest in what one is doing, is how you understand it. And I was just before looking it up in the Visuddhimagga, in the chapter about how to attain jhana, where the different jhana factors are analyzed, and coming to piti, the Visuddhimagga analyzes these terms in three ways: function, characteristic, and what's the third one? Function.
Proximate cause.
Proximate cause. Yeah. And interestingly, for characteristic of piti, it says sambhya yana.
Then?
Sambhya yana. Sambhya yana. Sambhya. This bhya is in it. And so it is translated into English as it has the characteristic of endearing and fondness. Endearing and fondness is very
endearing.
Very close to interest. Because whatever is endearing to us, we are interested in naturally, and we are fond of. So I think it's very close to how you understand it, how also the Visuddhimagga defines it. Whereas it says the function of piti is to pervade and refresh the body and mind.
Yeah.
Which is also correct.
Yes. That will lead to tranquility.
Yes.
But the problem is it also gives the 5 types of piti, which are all very exciting,
That's right.
That's interesting.
They're not all as exciting. They are different levels. So the first one is not as exciting as the last one.
Yeah, but many of them are, You have waves of joy, and then you have goose pimples, and then you have
the physical manifestation
physical
of a mental state. Because piti is actually not a feeling. The sukha is a feeling, a pleasant feeling, but piti is a mental state. And to see it as interest in what you're doing, or interest in the meditation, whatever it is a good way to understand it, as I see it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.